Hello everyone, Splash here with another, it's not a showcase and it's not a build video really, it's something in between while I'll talk a lot. You see, after I made the crafting hub, I wanted to make a village of tiny cottages around it, because when you have all the things you need in one space like this, you really don't need a massive house. You just need a space to spawn if you die. Well, it was all fine and dandy until everything derailed, of course. It started off by me muttering over the fact that the only logs we have to build with clearly are too thin. So, after some consideration, I decided to build these pillars instead. And I won't take credit for them, because back in the day, these pillars are one of the reasons why I subscribed to this saw, and the link to the clip in question is up top right now. Anyway, way too many pillars later, I was unstoppable and the tiny cottage became overly decorated with all kinds of stuff, of course. For example, these windows, which I remember from one of Kaisen's earlier videos. I'm linking you to that one right now. There are lots of windows in that clip actually that are kind of useful if you want some new ideas. Anyway, I decided to start over and continue with house number 2. And I made that even larger, which was not the point. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you that one of the things I really wanted to discuss in this video is trees and flowers. If you have noticed, the trees and the flowers are really close to the houses here. You have to plant them long before you build your house if you want this as close as I have them right now, because I play vanilla. So, let's have a look at the final house up the hill before we throw one of these little babies together, alright? And as you can see, house number 3 is even larger again, but is much less decorated. And to be quite honest, I like that better. Still, there is about 3 layers of wall in all of these houses, so they are really material heavy even though they don't look the part. I made some furniture here and there because, let's face it, we need more stuff for decoration of our homes. And back in the day, Ghost Builds had a bunch of videos on how to do tiny little details for your home. So here's a link to him as well. Sadly, his YouTube channel hasn't been active in ages, but this is where I started and where I found a lot of inspiration during the last years. Oh yeah, we need some shade while we're looking out over the sea, am I right? Oh, let's find ourselves a spot and build a little cottage similar to these 3, just so I can show you the steps, alright? Okay, this looks like a good spot. It's down here, because it's close to the hub and we've got a lovely view. Let's flatten the ground a bit. And I'm using 2-meter wood beams for the base here, and I need this build to be 6x4. And I want to place the door here, so that's why I'm opening it up there. I will need to prepare the ground a bit here though. Time for some gardening. Yeah, I'm digging a path here because paths that are used often tend to be sunken down into the ground after a while. And also I want raised flower beds. So this is how we're gonna do it. And since I'm making a small house, we only need a single door, not a double door, and a small landing for the stairs. Yeah, raised flower beds, so we'll need to raise this ground a bit. It'll maybe look a bit overgrown when we're done here, but I like that. Building a path is easier when the flowers are up, so we'll wait with this. And we're gonna cover the entire floor with stone. Time for some gardening. And with a little luck, we don't need to remove any of the floor parts because mostly they're not in the way, but it happens, and then we have to remove them. Trees are extra sensitive like that, and we don't need an oak down here. It's too large. It would destroy the view for everybody else behind us. Sea onions, they really have beautiful flowers, don't we? We need more flowers, don't we? Oh yeah, we need somewhere to sit in the shade to look at the sea. So let's build one of those little raised areas for that. complicated to make this look good, but if you level the ground a bit away from the stairs, just above it and just below it, it usually does the trick. And of course we need more flower beds. Maybe some other flowers, but flower beds still. Yeah, a little bit back and forth here with paving and flowers. Let's plant some onions without the flowers this time because the leaves are beautiful too. Come to think of it, I should have planted turnips instead of prettier leaves. Now we're waiting for everything to grow. Poof. There we are. And everything is up, so that's making it easier for us to start actually doing some work in the garden here now. Like that. And I will actually leave that little piece of dirt there because it looks like there's a place where you could have a puddle or something. I like that. Okay, the trees. We have to wait for the trees. And poof, there we have them. Nice. And they look like they're in a good spot, all of them. We don't need to remove any of them. Heh, I've destroyed your view. This means that we could start with the actual build now. So I'm gonna mark all the corners out first. And I want everything to be 3 meters tall here. That's a good enough height. And yeah, we'll mark all the places here where we might need to put some weight because these will carry the entire roof later. Okay, the pillars, this is how I do them, a bit different. I use the smaller poles instead of the large one because I think this is easier to maneuver. And I do them like this instead. I'm not sure if it's better or worse, but it's easier in my opinion anyway. Alright, time to put this wood pole of 1 meter on top of the other ones so that we have the same measurements everywhere. Because it's time to put up these beams to make it easier for us to continue the build. As I said, this is where the roof is going to rest later, so we need to be very precise. And since there are so many snap points in those pillars now, we need to have the others, these ones, to make sure we get the snap points in order. Okay, time for a door. There we go. And we will need to use the other door now because the walls are going to be placed flush against these beams right here. Oh, that looks good. Oh. Keep the measurements be very precise here, otherwise nothing's gonna work. You want to hide all the seams inside of these pillars. These wood beams aren't necessary for the structure or anything. I just like them because they will be under the windows and make it all look a bit more whole. And with these wood poles, I'm marking out where I want the windows to be, and I will use the 1 meter beams to make sure they have the right distance from one another. When I have the right distance, it's easier to know where to put the next row of walls up, like this. I decided to not have any windows at all at this back wall because there's nothing to see. And in this direction, I don't really need that many windows because it isn't fun to look at the crafting hub. But the sea, we need 2 windows in that direction, definitely. And the flowers, of course, too. This part here, yet again, not necessary for structural reasons. It's just me who wants a clean surface while I'm working. Oh yeah, and this is probably why you don't have flowers close to your house. Anyway, all around the house, I'm gonna put these floor tiles, but to start off, I'm just gonna have it along these 2 sides of the house, the longer sides of the house. And we want them to stick out on each side. Oh, these flowers. Stick out like that on both sides. And then we're gonna put these 1 meter beams everywhere. It's mostly full. It's really for looks. It's only for looks, to be honest. And now it's finally time for the roof. We're getting there. You just don't want to know how much I cursed over these trees while I was building. But it's my own damn fault, isn't it? You want your roof to end up like this. 2 pieces of roof on top on each side of the building, and then a hole out of 3 pieces like this in the middle. And then you want to put up these beams along the edge because we are going to make a chimney here. And somehow this seems to work now. Even though it isn't that large of an opening as it used to be demanded earlier. I'm gonna place something over this later. Oh yeah, I did something wrong there. I needed to repair that before I could continue and redo that the right way. And snap points galore everywhere. Okay. Now we have the wall we're going to put up, and it's easy to do that from inside, and we're going to do it like this. And you don't want to know how much I curse now over all these snap points that I've created. That's just how it's going to be. And we want to make those windows here again. And we're making them like this. And we need to put a small wall tile there and a small wall tile there to make this one raised like that. And now we come to the problem with these windows, at least for me, because it takes forever to find snap points. I gave up after a while and started doing something else. Okay, let's try this again. All right. Frustration. If you... Oh, there we go. Yep. And same thing here. And then we have to go through the same hell once more on the other side of the build. Yep. Fun, fun, fun. Snap points are... There we go. Oh, lots of fun. And here we have some freehanding. So you need to press shift while clicking. And that's because I want these things to go flush against one another, but I don't want them to be seen through the roof. Right, these things you can decorate as you like, but I wanted to make it like this time around, and not too many things at all, actually. One of the houses I have stools and everything on this one, and but I wanted it clean this time. Down here we're going for these wooden shutters because it looks like these panels, and I like the look of them. And we're gonna do this all the way around the entire house on this level. We are gonna clean that up by putting up these long dark wood beams on top of them. Oh right, inner walls. And this is because I don't like the way they look on the back side, and it's really not necessary if you don't mind having them like this. And I'm still questioning why we can't use wattle and dough as walls, because that would have been cheaper. You didn't have sawmills back in the day, so every plank would have to be made by hand. And that makes it a very expensive material. It was expensive in the medieval times. You wouldn't use planks like this if you weren't very rich. Log houses, yeah, sure. But wattle, no, that was used for a long time. Alright, the cleanup. This time around I've chosen to not make a third wall all the way up to the ceiling because this is enough. But I still want a clean surface, so I'm gonna polish all of it. And then it's time for these bars in the windows because it looks nice. And you could also do with the crystal blocks. Okay, this is it. Now we're done. Very simple, really. I didn't make any furniture this time around. Okay, time to build the pavilion. We want to make it 4 wood poles long, and I used the 2-meter poles again. And I settled for 3 poles wide, and I had to continue digging a bit to make that work. Oh yeah, I decided it was no reason to be cheap, so I put up more mats than I needed really, because I wanted it to cover fully. So there's 9 carpets up here. I could probably do with 6, and you fall right through if you walk on it. It's so confusing really. Okay, let's remove these so it looks more real, and we'll keep that one in the middle. And then we're gonna build a little overhang here. Like this. And this is a bit of a hassle. You need to be kind of precise, and you have to do everything by freehand. So you want it to hang out as much on each side to make it look the way you want. Like that. And you have to puzzle every once in a while in the corners, because of course nothing matches when you do it like this. Like this, for example. But as long as you've been precise, it works. Ah, here we go. Sit under here and look at the view. Nice. Around the flower beds, we're putting these log beams, 2-meter ones, because we can make nice corners with them. we had flower beds like this when I was a kid, and I like it. Yeah, this roof, apparently you can build on top of it, the carpets, but you can't stand on top of it. Same way all around, we're making this with the logs because I like it. You don't, maybe, but you know, to each their own. Neat, right? Oh, some polishing and we're done. All right, so we're done. And from this spot here where I'm sitting, we have a really nice view, don't we? I'm pretty pleased with how this turned out.